Hi, this is Luis Souza from rawveganpower.com, and I'm here today with Brian Rossiter, a fruit-powered guy who is Arnold's friend as well. Hi, Brian. It's so nice to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I really appreciate that you took the time to be with me here today, and you have a very cool name for your site, Fruit Powered, and I guess you are fruit powered as well, right? Could you share your story and how you got in this raw vegan diet, please?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. I heard about it when I was 24 years old. I was a newspaper reporter in a town, Lansdale, Pennsylvania, about 20 miles outside Philadelphia. And Arnold had just opened up his cafe there. It had been located in another neighborhood of Philadelphia called Manayunk for about 10 years previous. And I never imagined I would be eating this way, but about 3 years ago, green smoothies, they really rocked my world in a good way, and I made a commitment to drinking them every day. And within a matter of several months, I was vegan and then accepted my friend's challenge to go 100% raw for January 2011. And I made it through the month without cracking once, but I didn't really succeed. It took me a few more months until I discovered what I was doing wrong, and I wasn't getting enough fruit calories. I'd watched a video of Harley Johnstone or Durian Rider on 30 bananas a day, and he tipped me off on how important Doug Graham's The 80-10-10 Diet book is. Uh,
Mhm.
that was one of several books I had bought, but it didn't have the pretty pictures like some of the other books, and so it was the last one for me to read, and boy, that was a big mistake. That was the book I should have read first.
That's cool.
So once I read that and I began eating a lot more fruit and counting my calories and understanding staple foods, that's when things began to take off. Um, all throughout 2011, I still had a foot in a cooked food door, if you will. I was unwilling to get rid of my vegan burritos, doused with enough hot sauce to give me a runny nose. But it turns out they were really causing me a lot of trouble.
Really?
Yeah, so I'd have incidents of brain fog. I would just feel a little spacey and disconnected, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it because I knew some folks over at Arnold's Way would still continue to eat a bit of cooked food without much incident, but my system must be very sensitive, and it just negatively affected me, and it got worse and worse as the year went on. And I finally decided, I can either go back home and go about 60% raw. At the time I was 90% raw, or I can go for the whole enchilada, the 100% raw. So I went for the whole enchilada by kicking the burritos out, and I've been 100% ever since. This is about 16 months, and it's the best thing I ever did for myself, and highly recommend your viewers and your readers on your website to give it a go.
And as soon as you got 100% low fat raw vegan in this case, what you really felt? I mean, what would be the main benefit that you felt?
Just being extremely clear-minded and having
Clear mind
energy.
and
Yes, and having energy that would take me to the end of the day. I would never get tired until just maybe the hour before going to sleep. And I also became extremely ambitious and driven. And I knew this lifestyle had worked wonders for so many. It just wasn't working wonders for me while I still had cooked food in me. But once I was 100%, I just felt that I had to do something. I wanted to join forces with Arnold and the rest of this wonderful raw vegan community to spread his message.
yeah, it's the clear mind you were mentioning. It's something that many low fat raw vegans mention, and it's I feel that as well, and I think Arnold is so pumped up because of that as well, right? Because
Absolutely.
yeah, he's a cool guy, and he's influencing you, me, and thousands of people. It's so fantastic, and I keep wondering how it would be to live close to him and be able to get in touch as you are doing.
Oh, it's been a joy. I took Arnold's place for granted for too long. He planted the seed in me a long time ago when I was younger, but I wish I'd have gone for it way back then. I've been up for lost time, and I really love going to Arnold's monthly potlucks. I've gone to almost every one the past 2 years, and they're really special times and opportunities to gather with community, to learn what others are doing, for others to help you, and for you to help others as well.
And then you wrote a book as well, right? You have a life. Yeah, it's so cool, the name. Could you tell us something about your book? Is it your story? What do you say in this book?
Sure. In my book, Alive, the title is heavily influenced by the rock band Pearl Jam. I'm a big fan. And when I had to come up with one word to describe the way I felt, I just feel like I'm alive for the very first time. It always felt like there was something blocking me from experiencing life to the fullest. In my book, I trace my journey and discuss all the challenges I faced trying to get over burritos and all these other things. I felt the need to write this kind of book because I wanted a book to help people, to show them what to do and how to do it. And I think so many people are busy and they don't have all the information all at once, and they want to transition to a raw food lifestyle. And this is what I do in this book. I offer a 4-step plan for anyone to go raw. And I think anyone can do it very easily, very naturally, and it'll take just several months.
So it would be a slow transition, right?
Yes. I know some folks who were able to go 100% raw overnight without looking back, and I think that's incredible. But if I had to bet, we're talking maybe 100 people a year, if that. It might only be a few dozen. But I think transition is really the way to go for so many people, and some other raw coaches, such as Swayze Foster, Chris Kendall, have echoed this point. And in my book, I also have some tool recommendations. I have some condensed interviews with Arnold Kaufman, Megan Elizabeth, and another Arnold's Way employee at the time, Shay Dively.
Well,
and also some recipes.
we keep talking, but I'm gonna share here my other screen your site. You have such a cool stuff here. And Charlie Abel, how old is he? Did you interview him? Yeah.
56.
Oh, that's cool, and he has muscle. And then people ask us how we get the muscle, right?
Sure. Charlie looks to be in quite good shape.
Yeah, it's crazy when people ask, well, where do you get your protein from? And these guys are showing us. Yeah.
I'd like to just throw out some praise to my partner, Anna Kmielewska. She designed this website from my former look, and she worked tirelessly on it.
On Fruit Powered? Oh, and
Yes.
it's a cool design, yeah.
Yes, I like it a lot. Her website is sweetvegannature.com, and she's doing some really amazing things there.
Sweet vegan nature. Cool.
Yes.
And tell us something about your coaching, because I was seeing that you have a coaching program as well, right? Yeah. By the way, I can
Yes,
Yeah,
just kind of getting going with that.
coaching. Yeah.
Most of my time is invested on working on the digest, for Power Digest. That's I just put out the 9th issue, and I would say that's the majority of the time I spend on my website. And I also do a video series, and lately quarter of the week has involved an image component, and that's been a fun thing to work on, creative aspect each week.
And you have cool recipes as well. Do you prepare those recipes every day, Brian? I mean,
Some of them, yes. Mexican sun soup. I wouldn't say that one's every day, but every week I make that once or twice, I'd say.
And it's cool. Huh.
Green smoothies, and there's some other fruit smoothies. I make them all the time. I love green smoothies. I think really that's a key for a lot of people to succeed in the early going. I think a lot of people, when they start out, they don't have enough, uh, they don't have the stomach to support all this volume of food when they're used to eating cheeseburgers or rice and beans. These water-starved meals, it's quite different from eating a whole watermelon for the same amount of calories.
What would be your first advice for someone who is thinking about a raw vegan diet?
I would say green smoothies for breakfast.
I
Uh,
like that.
that was
I'm
a
doing that.
That's great. That was the trick for me. I had been drinking fruit smoothies for 4 years beforehand, almost every day, and they were low in calories. But once I upped the calories a bit and added in greens, that's when everything started to take off. I was able to quit smoking in 1 week, and it was just such an easy quit attempt. I'd never experienced willpower like that before. At that point, I
And
said, okay, I'm going to have this drink every day. I haven't missed a day in more than 3 years.
that's cool. And by the way, what about your family? Did they follow you in this choice or not?
With green smoothies, yes. Uh, I still don't think the calories are quite there. They haven't had the same kind of effect. I constantly harp on people about calories. 200 calories isn't going to cut it for a smoothie and for you to have a great effect. It's got to be a full meal.
Like,
I'm
well, could you describe us this green smoothie that you usually do?
the one I usually do anymore is so simple. It's just bananas and romaine lettuce. I'll pop in about 11 bananas and 2/3 of a pound of romaine. And a lot of days I might drink that for lunch and dinner. Some other days I might have that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Other days I might have um, oranges and mangoes for breakfast, and that's a frequent one, or strawberries instead of the mangoes. And then watermelon, and then a banana meal, green smoothie.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the romaine lettuce because usually people choose kale, right? And
It is interesting. In the beginning, I was using a lot of kale, a lot of collards, dandelion, chard, and I was just at some point I was still unable to get over cases of acne. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I can circle back to that point later. But in early September, Arnold suggested I get rid of kale. Kale is harder to digest, and Arnold pointed me to one book he had in the store, and it led on to this fact, and I gave it a whirl with romaine, and that's what I use, I would say, 5, 6 days a week. The other day or two, I'll mix it up and just have spinach or dandelion. I went back to kale about 2 months ago. It was the first in 6 months, and I got so sick. I had to leave work early, I'll tell you. I had such a stomach ache.
oh, I believe you. It seems to be harder to digest, really. And the lettuce it seems to be really easy to digest. But the cool thing about lettuce is that it has lots of protein as well, right? Is it right?
Yes, absolutely. Yep. On an average day, I try to eat very close to 2 pounds of lettuce, and I love having red leaf lettuce for dinner in my salad, and sometimes I'll have romaine or green leaf lettuce. Um, and I also love chomping on celery. I will snack on celery during my fruit meals throughout the day, and I'll go through a whole stalk or head, whatever you want to call it, of lettuce, about a pound a day.
Yeah, and this would be your usual diet, then. I understand. Well, and if you could now compare the person you were before being raw vegan with the person you are now after being a raw vegan, what would be your raw vegan power?
The raw vegan power, wow, geez, I would
In one
say
sentence, please. In one
uh,
sentence.
one sentence.
Yeah.
my raw vegan power would be feeling alive and feeling my best and feeling right in the moment and knowing what I want to do tomorrow and in the future and knowing for the first time in life where I'm going exactly in life. Not kind of meandering about. I just feel that I have a purpose.
Fantastic. I really love your answer because I feel I really identify myself with you. I really feel that way. Okay, and well, you gave your first advice, and one last question: do you think that going 100% on fruit would be a good choice?
No, I would never recommend anyone consume only fruit.
Only
There,
fruit,
there's
not
just not
yeah.
enough minerals. Doug Graham talks about this in the 80-10-10 diet, and I really enjoy that book. I would say it's the most important book I read. It just really made sense on so many levels. But uh, I highly recommend having the greens. The greens really seem to make a big difference. And some people I know who have been leading a mostly fruitarian lifestyle who didn't have enough greens, they always said that once they really upped their intake of greens, they felt so much better. Karen Ramsey actually just told me the same thing when I interviewed her a few weeks ago. So I think the greens have this tremendous cleansing effect, and they help round out our nutritional intake.
And I heard that the greens are good to alkalize the body as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
So
greens have
it's
that alkalizing effect.
okay. Thank you so much, Brian. It was very nice to have you here today, and I hope we meet again. And we are in the same niche, and and I well, I hope we can stay in touch. That's what I want to say. Thank you
Absolutely.
so
I
much,
hope so as well.
Brian. And well, you who are watching this interview now, go now to fruitpowered.com and see all the great stuff that Brian has to offer you there. Okay, go now there. Fruit-powered.com, right?
You got it. Thank you so much. This was a lot of
Thank
fun.
you, Brian. Bye bye.